Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm here with a former student of mine from at least 14 to 16 years ago. Tim, you were in my drama class?
That's right.
And we also made a film together. I know the film was 14 years ago because my dog has a cameo in it as a puppy, and he's still sleeping in the back here. He's 15 now. So I definitely remember your creative mind, your quirky sense of humor, and I found you again on Facebook because I think I saw your cooking shows or cooking videos. I'm like, this guy is great. You want to be on the Ain't Gonna Be No Stupid show. So yes, here we are. Here we is. And if you have anything to say before we move into the story, our stupid stories, go ahead if I missed anything here.
No, you didn't miss anything. That was one of the best intros I've ever had. And I did stand-up comedy for like 6 years. So that's
Oh, nice. All right. Well, just for that, we're going to go into our, I like to start with like something, because, you know, this show is kind of inspired by the book Ain't Gonna Be No Stupid Woman, which is like an Ain't Gonna Be No Stupid teacher. And then Ain't Gonna Be No Stupid. Stupid means what? It means that a definition means the inability to understand due to insufficient intelligence, and leads to a misinterpretation of the facts. Well, what we know now about the brain is that you can change your intelligence level, no matter what schools have said and how schools didn't match our brains. I know it didn't match my brain. We learned later that, that our brains can change. So let's just go back to just one story. I'm gonna let you do your stupid innocent story because mine connects to yours a bit in what you said you did in high school.
Are you talking about when I wore a suit every Friday?
Yes, tell us why you wore that suit. I remember you in this suit and this little thin black tie, right?
Yes.
Okay, tell me, what was that? What was that about?
The whole concept is when I was a teenager and angsty, the idea of rebelling against rebelling was the most fun concept to me. And at that point in school, every Friday at Oak Lawn was casual Friday. Like everyone wore pajamas. No one really actually wore clothes. So my way to rebel against that was to wear a suit every Friday and to try to get people to think for themselves and to not do like what everybody else is doing. But it just kind of made me look very strange and awkward that they're all dressed normal and I was in a full three-piece suit and with my briefcase and the poster of Big Brother is watching on it. And
I love that about you, Tim. That's so great. It's funny you say everyone dresses normal now, which pajamas at school is kind of normal now, which is sad. But my story connects to you because I thought of the time I used to teach the novel Black Like Me. I don't know. Did I have you in American Studies too, or no?
I was a bad student, so like I remember the class I liked, your drama class I loved, and then the other classes I kind of ditched a lot, so I don't remember.
Bad students make successful people later, trust me. But I remember the story's premise is about a white man who became black through dyeing his skin, taking some pills, and he wrote about what it was like to be black in the South in the 50s. And I was teaching that novel year after year. And so one year, I decided to be man like me. And I wore a tie every day for a month. And one thing was weird because some of the administration at the time would be like, hi, nice, you look good today. Like there was like a common, because I was wearing a tie, there was like this brother, I was in the good old boys club. It was weird. But then another thing I remember feeling is like, man, no wonder men are so cranky. This is hot and this is not easy. And I did it for a month. So that was just my way to rebel as well. You know, just man like me there. Now I know how men feel. Now I can empathize. But that just, when you told me that story, I thought that was so funny because it reminded me of when I wore my tie that year. So let's move into, if you want, we can talk about this. Your stupid situationship, which I've had more stupid situationships than I can count, and I'm pretty much written off relationships now. I'm pretty much me and God. That's pretty much where I'm at. But let's talk about, if you want, where you at with this any stupid situationship you've had.
That's the stupid situationship. I feel like is it's a rite of passage. Everybody has to go through the stupid situationship so that you grow as an adult. And like I was in a few toxic relationships with a few different types of women over the years, and just as you like, I turn them into comedy because that's the most fun thing to do is when you go on stage and vent and bitch about your significant other, it's so much funnier. But like those relationships looking back on were terrible ideas and I should have gotten out sooner, but it's still, you have to go through, everybody has to go through something terrible so you can find something nice. Like even if
Yes.
it's finding yourself is the best part about it.
You are so deep. I love that about you. Yes, I agree with you. The pain is I always say no pain is ever wasted. And you just said something else that reminded me of what you said something about toxic and you got to be in it because I have something else you just said that reminded me of something I always say.
The rite of passage of being toxic.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the comedy, oh, I know. You said it's all comedy, or you could use it in your comedy. So whenever I ever go through any kind of struggle, I'm always telling my colleagues if they're struggling with something, whatever, something's happening at school, I'm just like, you guys, this is just comedy. Just remember that. Because what is comedy, right? Anger is really below comedy, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. It's like comedy and tragedy go hand in hand. Like that's the whole thing, isn't it?
Yes, awesome. So
tragedy plus time equals comedy, isn't that?
Oh, I like that. I haven't heard that one. Who are you quoting there? Is that an original?
I think that was Shakespeare.
Oh, maybe it was. Perhaps it was. I don't remember. My brain is like, as you can tell.
Oh, I know. I actually just got off a 12-hour day, like an hour ago.
Oh, well, you're kind of a hyper then, aren't you?
Kind of. I was burned out.
Yeah. I hear you. So we did title this "Ain't Gonna Be No Stupid Content Creator," and I was actually reading the Awkward Thoughts of W. Kamau Bell again this summer, and he just had a quote in there that reminded me of what we're going to talk about today. He says, "Ain't nobody got time for an unfunny comedian."
That's true.
I know. And then he also said, share my weird, his purpose was to share his weird thoughts and seek connection. And he also said his number one best quality is to be an ally and to shut up and listen. Don't you find that comedians really do shut up and listen because they pay attention more to the world around them? And then you see it in a unique way because of that?
That's like coming from a comedy perspective for as long as I was doing stand-up and improv, that's like, I feel like that's the comedians that would work with me, they would do more research than people in a history class. Like they would sit and like look at the whole world around them of like, do you know what's going on in the Middle East right now? Let's talk about that right now. Like,
seriously.
Like,
very impressive.
I feel like I came a long way from like sitting in your classroom like this, doing like the Wolf Boy improv game that we used to do.
Oh my gosh, the rabbit, duck, elephant one, that one? That what we've played so many games, I don't remember. There's a kamikaze one that I still don't remember how to do. And I did it my early days of drama and I forgot about it. Do you know what I'm talking about? With the helicopter? There was like rabbit, duck, elephant, but it was a kamikaze version. Do you remember that?
Oh, I do remember.
But I don't remember the three things because I know one was the chopper.
I just remember spinning in circles with the helicopter part.
Oh, okay. So we did do that. Oh
yeah, I do remember doing that. And then we did the Flavor Flav one that one of the theater kids taught us. Is you take a really long inhale and then an exhale and you go Flavor Flav and you just go as long as you can to warm up your voice.
I know. Your memory is better than mine. That is so funny. I don't remember that.
I still do that when I know I'm going on stage and I'm going to be talking for more than like 15 to 20 minutes. I'll actually sit in my car and look like a crazy person to do that.
That is the best. There's a lot of crazy warm-ups that make people wonder, right? Do we want to go here in order with what you start? Like, did you go in order? Like, did you go with a poetry club and then an acting class and then mentors? And then you said something about your narcissism.
Well, yeah, that's every comedian is secretly a narcissist.
Tell me your definition of a narcissist.
Somebody that craves a certain kind of attention to a certain degree all the time. And so like, I feel like that's one of my personality traits. It's one of my more charming personality traits is like, I just try to always be witty and funny and I'll try to find the best situation, try to make people laugh in like even the worst situations.
Yes. Ooh, what's that noise?
That is, I have several different alarms for different things that I was supposed to do at the end of my shift.
Did you get them done?
Yeah, I got done hours ago, but like my normal schedules, I'm supposed to be done around this time.
Oh, okay. I got you. So you're, okay, now technically the narcissism that I've known is you come off as charming at the beginning, and then ultimately your purpose is to just discard and devalue other people, which I guess comedians kind of do that, right? Do you do that kind of comedy where you're insulting the crowd? And
I have done it before. It's not my favorite thing to do. Like, I don't mind. Like, I like interacting with the crowd. Like, cause like I started improv in your class so long ago, and like, it's so much more fun when people are involved. So like when I started doing actual comedy, and then we would like, if the show is starting to go bad, and like, you don't want to start insulting the audience because then they turn on you that much faster. So you just kind of want to interact with them, and like, you can call out like one person and be like, hey, like, I need you just to relax for like 15 minutes so that I could do my job and you guys could do what you paid to do, is sit there and listen to me talk.
Right. Well, you know, it's funny. Michael Jr. is one of my favorite comedians, and he says that when he shifted from trying to get laughs from the audience to I'm here to give them the ability or the opportunity to laugh is when his career took off. I thought that was really good advice, right? Check out Michael Jr. He's one of my faves. Tell me more about your poetry club, which is
actually
back in high school.
Yeah, that was the love of poetry started back in high school, and then I've been few different spots all over the city. I was trying to remember for the life of me, because this was like early 20s, like still very angsty teenagery, and like going to different poetry readings and all sorts of stuff, and like keeping up with it, and like the raw emotion that people can put into poetry is astoundingly moving, and it's beautiful to me how someone can write something that's hysterically funny and the last 3 lines will make you sit and cry. Like that is like beautiful to me. And like, so like, I always love that aspect. And I feel like that's one of the reasons that I became a content creator now and kind of moved more away from the stand-up comedy, and like, because I want to move into projects that will actually hit every emotional nerve rather than just like sit and laugh.
Well, let me ask you this. You said you did have some struggles with depression and anxiety. Is that over now because of your do you use this as a part of your healing, or is that part that drives it?
It is actually a drive, and it did help with healing. Is like when everybody goes to the phase where you're trying to find yourself, and it's not just like a set age of like when you're 18, you're going to know exactly who you are and what you're doing is like, and when you're floating through your 20s and you don't like have any idea what direction you want to go, like the depression hits really hard and you don't even want to get to bed because you don't know where you're going to be. And then like the anxiety makes it worse of like the constant like reminder of like, you don't know what you're doing. And so, yeah, like creativity became my outlet, is like finding reasons to write that down over and over again of like, I will do something better tomorrow. I will do something better. And then actually seeing it in paper, it helps. And then started channeling it into a creative outlet. That's one of the reasons I got into poetry, is that it's like, you're channeling all those awful emotions into something that could be beautiful. And then because I had the experience with the stage acting, I had no problem going up and reading it, because that's the most important part, is not just that you felt this, is other people feel it too, and they need to know they're not alone.
Yes, that's key. Yes. Ooh, you're like on a mission. That's beautiful. Do you go to that place on is it Archer to do the open mic?
Yeah, I've gone there before. I think that's you're talking about
what's that coffee house? I forgot.
Ashbury's,
yes.
Yeah.
Do you go there?
Some friends of mine work in that tattoo shop right down the street, so I actually have gone there more frequently than I have in the last couple of years. But yeah, like whenever I get the urge to go on stage, like it's not like we live in one of the best places in the world for stand-up comedy and like culture. So like if I want to find a poetry house, it's literally a Google search away and I could be there in 20 minutes. And
that is so good. Yes. So I was going to ask you to come down to the city a lot.
Not as much as I used to, because my job like has been consuming me lately, and that's actually I made an apology video this morning on my way to work to all of my viewers, because I haven't put a video out in 3 weeks, and that's the longest I've gone in like a year and a half.
Yes.
And it's like we had some switched like people quitting and COVID and stuff like that, so I've just been swamped with not being able to get time off.
Yeah, everybody's forgiving. And you're talking about the cooking show right now, those videos?
Yes.
Because can I speak to how amazing these videos are? They are, I don't cook, but I watch shepherd's pie, and then the pulled pork, or not the pulled pork, the one with the beef.
The Italian beef?
Yeah, the south side things. But they, the way that you cook and how concise you are with the directions, and then the colorful language you use and the editing skills I think it's one of the best shows because I'm not a patient person when it comes to learning about how to cook. And you just boom, 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 boom. And I appreciate that. Thank you. If I ever do make shepherd's pie. What?
That's actually one of the reasons I do that is because I hate when I want to try a recipe and then I have to sit through 45 minutes of either scrolling somebody's blog of why they made this for their husband in the fall of last year, or you have to watch a video where they explain where shepherd's pie came from. It was like, nobody cares.
I know.
And that's what one of my buddies told me his favorite thing about those videos are the trademark at the very beginning of like screenshot the shot for all your ingredients and then we don't have to talk about it again.
Thank you. Seriously, this is what I love about it. Like, you guys have to watch his cooking show. What's the name of it?
The cooking show is it's just on our channel, Batnips Productions, and each video is just the title of whatever I name the menu item that day.
Yes,
so like,
I'll put the notes, Batnips Productions. I want to make sure people know that your content is amazing when it comes to cooking. I tried to watch the other stuff with the video games, very creative, but I couldn't, like, it was a little dark for me, so I couldn't really watch the whole thing. And I never really tapped into the world of video games, though I know that there is a lot of creativity and a lot of outlet to get rid of your emotions too, right? I think some people argue that this is why it's so violent because of the video games. I don't know the research. I know there've been a lot of kids that gave speeches on this, and I've been convinced that, it's a good outlet so that you don't feel the need to go shoot people. I don't know.
It's like the exact opposite of what people think it is.
Yeah.
Like you could stress relief and go and like rob a bank in Grand Theft Auto and do it like all virtually. And then you're like, yeah, I feel better now. And like, I don't want to go hurt people at school.
Okay, good. Cause I was thinking, everyone argues that like, everyone wants to hurt people. And I mean, their mind, at least, there's sometimes there's that the anger or whatever. So it's not like this, you have that kind of an emotion. I think everyone, if they're honest, has had that kind of emotion. Oh, and back to what you were saying, when you were 20, I wanted to say this. Do you know, even when you get to be in your 50s, like me, you still feel like you're 18 on the inside?
Oh, I'm 31 and I still feel like I'm a young kid.
Yeah, I think you'll always
stupid and then like wake up like, oh no, I'm old.
Well, I think you're always going to feel that feeling, which is okay. But I always thought when you got older, maybe a little wiser. But I never knew that internally, I'm still just as young as ever.
Yeah, I feel that very much so.
I know. Did you want to talk about your mentors that you made I know Mr. Crone, he's no longer at Oaklawn, nor is Mr. Krahalva, but
I did want to just give them a shout out, even if they're part of your Patreon view and stuff like that. I would love to give them a shout because they're the ones that got me into the whole video editing fun. Like I had no idea that was a thing. And I remember Mr. Crone got us to start the AV club because there was no AV club at Oaklawn as of 2005. And then 2006, we had to do a Beowulf video that we shot in somebody's backyard. And none of us had computers at the time because even though it was 2005, like it was still not where we are today with technology. So we're using the computer in the library to edit it. And he came up and he's like, do you guys know what you're doing? I was like, sort of. And he's like, do you guys want to make some money? I'm filming football games for the coaches and I'll buy you guys pizza if you help me. And then from there, he started showing us how to do different editing techniques and different stuff. And then we actually met, I don't know if you remember when he came to Oaklawn, the bass player from Disturbed, the Fuzz.
No.
He came and did like, one of those pep talk speeches to everybody, because he went to Oaklawn. So he was a graduate. So he came back to do like you could be successful if you put mind to it. And then him and Mr. Crone became like buddies. And one of the days that we were filming the football games, like the Fuzz was just hanging out with Mr. Crone in the top of the classroom that we were in, because we were in, I think, Mr. Biga's room.
Yeah, second floor of the history department, right.
And I recognized him right away because I was a big fan, but the other two guys, they actually helped, it was Ryan and Craig who helped us film our independent film for the anti-drinking stuff that we worked on with Mr. Krahalva.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's where our whole camera crew was, like our AV club was those two guys. And they didn't recognize him, and then he funded stuff out of his own pocket for us to have all that awesome equipment that we ended up using, like those expensive cameras and all that stuff that we got for that project, was because he was like, I always wanted one of these programs when I was here. Here's $10,000, whatever the amount was.
Oh,
because
I don't remember that.
The administration wouldn't give Mr. Crone we weren't an actual club because there was no funding. So it was just like his 2 cameras and his laptop at first.
Wow.
And then this guy dropped a check and we had like an actual switchboard and like all the extra DJ stuff, and it was
all that creative stuff. They cut those things out of schools, number one, and these are the things that save kids' lives, don't you think? The creative minds, the creative minds are the ones that are the most, I think, full of angst, don't you think?
Oh, of course. That's
And
why.
so then why are we cutting the programs that are going to help feed their gift? Don't get me started. So you are now on a journey. You're doing your cooking show. What about you're doing some vlogging in the city, or you're planning to go into the city when COVID kind of slows down? Or
we had all these plans to do all these new shows, and then COVID hit and kind of slowed everything down, because like not only like we have the cooking show, and that actually like kind of happened because of COVID, because I didn't want to lose like my editing skills. I wanted to keep going, but like can't, because we started like it was originally our channel was a group of comedians doing skits and stupid goofy things and playing video games and trying to make people laugh. But like you can't get a group of 7 people together to film when there's a quarantine. So I just started cooking just so that I can edit and film and just keep my skills sharp for when we can actually get together. But we had this plan, and I think eventually when the quarantine is lifted, as one of our members is actually a trucker, and he travels all over the country because he's paid to, and he's always sending us pictures of food and stuff like that. So like we just gave him a GoPro and was like, just start vlogging, like,
oh yes,
and like the best way to do it. And then we even evolved that idea of like he's gonna do the international one, and then like me and Peter will do like we have the best cuisine in Chicago. We have access to so many things, like it's like, and that's the best way to get local viewership up too, is like not only is it one of those shows where like you see like, oh yeah, I've been to that restaurant, like I've driven past there like 100 times, like, and I want to kind of set it up the same way as the cooking show of like kind of fast paced of like, so here's what they have, here's what's really good, and here's us trying like different stuff, and like kind of keeping that pace up so that people are like, okay, like I know to try the cheese bread and not this. Like
I love that. And then the restaurant's getting free advertising, so they're going to let you film in their restaurant, right?
We've talked to a couple different, and like it all varies. Like sometimes they're like, no, we don't want it. Then other ones like, yeah, put us on Yelp, like do whatever you want. And like,
how about people that you randomly just get in your vlog? Do you have to give them to sign a release or anything?
Yeah, we actually I hit up one of my buddies that actually knows more about like law stuff than us, and he sent up like it's a very standard, just like you have permission to use my image on camera or whatever.
Cool.
And like those are super easy, and then if the person ever contests it, it's like we just blur their face out, but like who cares?
How do you do? I want to learn that.
The blur tool?
Yeah, do you have it? I don't know how to do that.
Oh, that's
iMovie feature or no?
It might be. I know I use all it, like I'm an Adobe slave, like because it's
that was too hard for me to learn. I had to get rid of it.
It's actually I upgraded because we used to, my first YouTube channel we ever did, I think I sent you links for this. This channel didn't matter. This was just to give you an idea of like where I started, is me and my roommate would watch videos of people playing video games.
Yes, I heard you would comment.
Yeah, and it was like we could do that. Like that's not hard to do. So that was like the first like chance. Like I never did a YouTube thing before, so that was our first. Like we did like 4 or 5 videos, and we basically just got drunk and played video games. But it taught me how to like. I was using editors and programs I'd never used before. So like I was like splicing like 4 different types of video shots together.
Hard.
So like I just started running with it, and then now I'm on Adobe, which I upgraded my computer a few weeks ago, and I just upgraded my webcam. And essentially it's so that I have 2 monitors. You guys can't see it.
Wow.
So like I can have Photoshop and the audio on one screen and then the actual video. So I will literally just be splicing pictures and videos and going, and it's streamlined editing. The problem is now uploading them takes forever. So like that's why I haven't uploaded anything, because like I can't sit and babysit my computer for like 2 hours while a video uploads because I have to work. Or I
always have to upload at night. It seems like I go to bed and just let it do its thing. But here's another.
So infuriating when you upload it and
then it fails.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh, now I gotta do it again.
Oh, it's horrible. But now you were just saying something about how you would dub over the video games. I watched a little bit of it in your commentary. It's similar to there's some improv games we used to play, like foreign film.
Yes.
Where there would be 2 people and you would have to dub over, just say what they were saying. They would speak in gibberish. And then isn't there other ones too? There just reminds me of, man, improv is so great. And improv's gotten me in trouble. Because the first rule is yes and. And I feel like I always live my life yes and. I think now that I'm older, I'm learning to say no. But because of improv, I've been saying yes to too many things. It's a bad thing.
The problem is
I know, it's like let's try anything once. And I'm like, nope.
That's my boss actually recently told me that, and I didn't even think that it's the yes and thing, but he's like, you overbook yourself like every week. And I was just like, like, I don't know. It's not even that I like to disappoint people. It's just like, yeah, I can manage that. I can manage another project. I can manage that too. Like,
Well, I do give you credit. If you were overbooked this week, you were on time, you were ready to go, you know, like you could have flaked out like some people do. So far, my guests haven't, but I'm saying that gives you, that gives you credibility. I think, you know, that's integrity.
I think it's very important that if you make an appointment, especially like, not just like in the entertainment industry, but if you make an appointment, like your word is all you have. So like if you make an appointment to say that you're going to be there, you should be there.
For sure. How did you get to be so like authentic or find your voice? I want to ask you that before we head into your latest creation.
It's that's really like, I think the biggest issue with that is like you have to know who you are, like to know where your voice is coming from. And I've been through a lot of different careers and floated around for a while. And then like when I finally like, it's kind of like when you look at yourself and it's like, so this is the kind of person that I want to be, and you start driving towards that, and then you start getting more and more confidence in that. And it's like at this moment in life, I haven't been more confident than I've ever been ever. Excellent. And it's gotten me into trouble a lot, but it's always one of those things that I can't not do. Like I don't even know if like you're saying it's like, where did your voice come from? Like I don't even know where it's coming from at this point. It's just now it's genuine.
Yes, I think that's so crucial in anything we do. That's one of my main messages is just find who you are, be authentic. So what, you make a few errors in life, fail hard. If you fail, fail, but bounce back. It's like to me, I heard this too recently, that perfection is the enemy to progress.
Yes.
So don't get too into the perfectionistic thing, because then nothing creative is going to happen, right?
That we actually used to tell when we would be working with newer comedians, is we would tell them like the first 2 rules of stand-up comedy is no one's going to laugh on your first time on stage. Ooh. And the second is as soon as you get comfortable, change your material, because then everybody is going to like, you're going to be doing the same 15 jokes over and over and over again.
Yes.
It's time to change, because everyone's heard it. And like, yeah, like you'll still get a laugh because like it's a good joke, but like the 5th time they hear it, like no one's gonna laugh anymore. You got to change it up.
Well, that's why relationships is good to be in one, because I think that would give you so much material to talk about, right?
It's actually gotten me in trouble. I don't want to get into too specifics, but like sure. I remember dating a girl, and I was like, we had a fight, and then literally like that next weekend, I was like going to an open mic to try a whole new set of material. And she was very supportive, and it was always a lot of fun when she went to shows, because she always like bring friends, and like it would always make when people show up, it makes you look better as a comedian, especially when you're trying out new stuff. And like 75% of the material was the fight.
Oh.
And then everyone else thought it was funny, but she did not. And then like I remember like we were driving home afterwards, and I was on that high that you can't get anywhere else but on stage. And it's like, I'm not gonna sleep tonight, I'm so happy. And she was like, so I think we should change those jokes, because I didn't like that at all. And I was like, well, no.
Oh, see ya.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
Oh, bummer. That's too funny. But I know a lot of comedians.
If I'm dating somebody, I'll warn them. I was like, I'm gonna write about you and stand up. Are you okay with that? And most of the time they're like, yeah, just don't make me out to be the bad guy. It's like, oh, that's fine. I'll be the bad guy.
Oh, good. That's good. But I don't think you're a narcissist then, if that's the case. If you don't mind being a bad guy, because narcissists will blame everybody and do a smear campaign about you after. It's pretty ugly. So let's go into your latest creation, and then we'll end with our the 3 takeaways. Okay.
Okay. The latest project that we're currently working on, and I have a few musician buddies and a few different poets and a few different voice actors, is the whole idea of it is running with the idea that we were talking about poetry earlier, is like cooking videos are one thing and comedy videos are one thing, but like trying to hit everybody on an emotional level, because everybody feels, and it's one of those like very Mr. Roger moments. Like it's okay to feel, like it's okay to be sad sometimes, and you need to know you're not alone. Yes. So what we've been doing is like taking original poetry and then having professional actors do a dramatic or happy reading, like just doing a reading of it in like a very amazing fashion, and then pairing that with original music from different musicians, and then combining that with artists and animators to do whatever they want with. And it's basically like everybody will get the same poem, and then they will create their interpretation of it.
That is great. Like a competition?
No, it's not a competition. It's like each video will be like its own project of like, I'll take like one poet, and then I'll take one musician and one artist, and one actor, and then the poet will write out their poem, or just like, here's what I'm submitting for you, and then the actor will read like their, like, I feel anger for this, like they'll do like the angry read or the super dramatic read, and then the musician, however they interpret it, will like, you know, create their song. And then the artists and the animators will, like, however they feel, like whatever they were inspired by with the poem, is they create their own thing. And then my job as the editor would be to take all of that and to make it into one beautiful video. And the idea of that is so that, like, when people hear and see this, is because, like, some people feel more like you can hear something and be moved. Some people are visual, like you need to see something beautiful.
Yes.
It hits on every note that, like, no one is missed. And that's something that, like, I've always wanted to do.
That sounds like a great teacher project. Like, I could give the kids. Actually, I jokingly tell them sometimes if they don't want to do something like they don't want to write a paragraph, I'm like, you can do a dance interpretation. I always offer the dance interpretation, but nobody has taken me up on it. But you probably would have taken me up on it.
I definitely would have taken you up on it.
I love that. I have poems I wrote during COVID. I might submit to your little show there.
That sounds amazing. Like, the first poem that we're doing for this first project is actually going to be one of my original ones from way back when. And then my buddy's one of the musicians, and he's got all these different connections because he's a signed musician, and he's like, oh yeah, like everybody loves this idea, and it's like, well, like, I can't pay much, and like we don't want the money. Like, they all have the same idea of, like, this is a good message to send out.
Exactly. Like, you don't need to do it for money, right? It all comes.
Yeah.
Batnips Productions would be the YouTube channel that it would be on. Okay, cool. Good. All right. Anything else I missed, if you want, before we get into the close? Did I miss anything that you wanted to say?
No, we pretty much covered everything I sent you.
Okay, really... let's go into the close then. It's a 3, 2, 1. 3 books that we should read.
The first one is Feed by M.T. Anderson, because it'll make you wear a suit every Friday once you read that and blow your mind.
It's got a bald head on the cover, right? Isn't it? Okay, yeah.
It's all about a dystopian society, about, like, why smartphones are the bane of existence, and it was written 10 years before smartphones existed. So that's why.
So genius.
I love it.
Okay, Feed.
And then Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh.
Which is one of my all-time favorite stupid British sci-fi books, where it's just funny, stupid, goofy humor, and it's something that everyone should read at least once in their life.
Love that you keep saying stupid, because this show is Ain't Gonna Be No Stupid. That's perfect. Number 3, I mean.
Number 3 is going to be Ain't Gonna Be No Stupid Woman. I highly recommend reading that book as soon as you guys are able to read that. I would recommend it to everybody. I'm going to buy it as soon as I can get my hands on it.
I just got a new shipment. If you want to buy it faster from me, Amazon's slow. So just hit up my website, amyperra.com. That's funny. That's so cute.
I'm very excited to read it.
Thank you. That's so great. You said that. All right. 2 shows we need to watch.
There is a show called Maniac on Netflix that is very underrated, and it's actually got Jonah Hill and Emma Stone in it.
Love Jonah Hill.
Completely missed the radar because I don't remember what came out around the same time, but it's basically like a drug trip mixed with, like, depressing feelings, but, like, happy. Like, it's such a weird, strange journey and it's only like 6 episodes long. It's not even that long, and it's
marathon it. Did you do it in one sitting?
You can do it, like, yeah. I watched it. I watched the first episode and I was like, I'm gonna be late for work tomorrow. Like, I just watched all of them because they're each like an hour and a half long.
I think the key, like you just mentioned, I think that it's just an honest, raw. It hits you in the feels. Is that what you would say? It makes it so good. Yeah, I feel you on that. Okay, cool. What's the other show besides Maniac?
The other show is BoJack Horseman.
Oh, I heard my students were telling me about this.
Is
it animated?
Yes, It's one of the weirdest shows because ironically, it's not really a kid show. It's got but it is animated. It takes place in like an alternate world where like humans and animals are kind of like evolved together. So BoJack Horseman, who's played by Will Arnett, is like this former 90s star from he had a sitcom in the 90s, like the stupid Bob Saget show. So he's like a multimillionaire, and it's like this super depressing journey that he's on of he's a not out of work actor. Like he can get any role that he wants to, but he's like lazy and he's depressed. But it's a really dark, funny show. And the kid from Breaking Bad plays his 25-year-old roommate, and it is one of the best shows. And you don't think you'll watch the first episode and be like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And then by the third episode, you're like, why am I crying about this horse? Like,
Oh, because I
what?
started watching it and I thought this is too dark. I can't, because I try to not go there. But that's interesting. You just said that. Crying about the horse. I love that. All right. So the one last thing is one habit we need to adopt.
My habit you need to adopt. I actually just told a friend of mine yesterday this, because she's been talking about doing different things. And it's, if you have that, what if I didn't have this job and I wanted to do this project? Do that project. Like, it is my favorite. Like, I'm a big advocate of, I am involved in 100 different things all the time, but it's one of those things that, like, if you think that, well, I think I'd be happier if I did this, do it.
So the key is do. Stop talking about it, do it.
Yeah, and the way to do that is literally, it sounds cheesy, but make yourself a list of all the things that you want to do, and then when you start breaking it down of like, well, I can do a podcast, like I can get a mic, and then you create yourself a little budget, like I could afford that, and then create yourself a date. It's like, I could do that, like I could record on Sunday, and then your little project is now its own thing. And that's my advice to everybody is, whatever that little thing is, that your what if thing, do it. It is definitely the habit to get into, of stop saying no to yourself.
Tim, we got to end on that note. That was such great advice. All right. So Tim Krull, it's been such a pleasure connecting with you again. I appreciate you for coming on to this Ain't Gonna Be No Stupid show and bringing your brilliance and your content creation, your little secret projects that no one knows about yet. And do you want to let anyone know where we can find you? I can also put it in the notes. Batnips Productions, YouTube.
Batnips Productions. Our website is currently under construction still, is one of my other projects that I'm still working on. But yes, we are definitely on YouTube. You can find us at YouTube at batnipsproductions.com.
Oh, thank you so much again, Tim. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really looked forward to this. I've been looking forward to it all week.